Big time switch up at lightweight as we now have Arman Tsarukyan taking on Matt the Steamrolla Frevola. Matt, we were really excited about Arman Tsarukyan's supposed or matched up featured prelim bout against Nasrat Haqparast. We even had it as a possible fight of the night. Unfortunate that one fell out. Nasrat Haqparast looking like complications due to the weight cut. Wishing him nothing but the best. But those are two top prospects. 25-year-old Haqparast, 24-year-old Arman Tsarukyan. Would have been a great fight in a clash of styles. And for Matt Frevola, originally supposed to be taking on Ottman Azaitar. The guy was 13-0, had 9 knockout wins, 2 highlight reel knockouts in the UFC. An absolute bonehead. He's now cut from the UFC. So we're missing out on Azaitar. Frevola steps in, taking on Tsarukyan, who ended up missing weight, weighing in at 157 pounds on the dot. So he's going to forfeit 20% of his purse. Overall, you talk styles making fights. These guys kind of similar, but not so similar styles.
Yes, so we went from 2 fights where you had kind of that classic striker versus grappler, but the strikers fell out of both the fights, so Dana White was like, all right, let's just put the grapplers together, and it will be an interesting fight. And I know a lot of the time when they do these short notice matchups, when people originally were supposed to fight other opponents, you kind of try to find the similarities between the opponent they were originally supposed to fight and the one who they're now matched up with. Both these guys kind of have to throw their whole game plans out the back window, but the good news is it does allow them both to play to their strengths and less towards what they can do to their opponent to diminish their striking. Because for Frevola, he was going in there with Ottman Azaitar, who questionable decisions outside the cage, you know, whether they're there or not, he is still a phenomenal striker and a very heavy-handed boxer. So Matt Frevola now, instead of fighting a guy who really is just a bad matchup for him, he's fighting Arman Tsarukyan, who isn't the best matchup for him, but at least he'll be doing the thing Frevola does well, and that's wrestling. For Tsarukyan, yes, he missed weight, not the best look, really, but he's going to have a massive advantage, especially in the grappling of this fight, I do believe. I think the wrestling might kind of even out throughout this fight. It will be interesting to see who goes for the first takedown. Now, I gotta be honest, I think Arman shoots for a takedown the second this fight begins. I really do. I think he's going to try to force the issue a little bit too much, honestly, in this fight, due to the fact that he did miss weight. I think he is going to have additional pressure on this fight because he did miss weight and there is going to be more pressure on him, probably just by the UFC to A, take this fight to begin with, and also the fact that he did miss weight. Frevola, if he can just keep Tsarukyan working, because again, a guy who missed weight, you always have to worry about their cardio. Now, there was, I forget what year it was, I think it was 2019, where it was like, oh, fighters who missed weight, especially the ones who missed, they were almost undefeated or their win percentage was like 80%. That is not the normal. Normally, it does kind of even out in the end. But the fact that Tsarukyan is such a big favorite, along with the fact that he did miss weight, it's hard to pick against him on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the odds really weigh a whole lot into the decision there. But if I look at this one, Matt Frevola, you're right, has a wrestling background. You see him coming out of Longo and Weidman MMA. We've seen him train quite a bit in Florida, down around Tampa, greasy Tampa, with a guy like Billy Q. Now coming into this fight, you talk about Matt Frevola, and you're right, Ottman Azaitar, master in Thai boxing, and you see it in his fights, obviously, with the knockout ability. So you had to think, game planning for a guy like Azaitar, you probably want to take him down fairly early. For Arman Tsarukyan taking on such a good boxer, Nasrat Haqparast, and yes, everyone out there, we saw your picks in your comments. It seems like the Fight Night Picks fans are the people that stumble upon us. Huge Nasrat Haqparast fans, but in that fight, we had picked Arman Tsarukyan to get the win. We were both in agreement. We had both picked Ottman Azaitar to beat Matt Frevola, both in agreement on that one. That's where this one gets interesting. And if you look at the Tapology votes, and a few people critical of the Tapology votes, but the reason being is you can always compare those Tapology votes to the odds. And in this sense, both are very, very closely linked together. Tapology votes, 912 of them, 87% Tsarukyan, 81% have him to win by decision. If you look at the odds, these are some of the most skewed odds that I think I've seen in a very long time. These are Shevchenko-S odds, because if you look at it, Arman Tsarukyan open to minus 650. He's now minus 847 favorite average over there. For Matt Frevola, open plus 475, now at a plus 563. This is one that obviously, you know, when you get odds up and around there, for me, I usually top out at about like a minus 400. After that, I don't really see a whole lot of value adding it into a parlay. It just decreases your percentages to a point where, again, for me, not my style. But I look at this fight, Arman Tsarukyan, much more dynamic on the feet, really switching stances, moves well, flows well in the cage. Matt Frevola, that typical kind of wrestle boxer that you see. I like Tsarukyan in this fight, but again, you know, if you woke up the next day, Matt Frevola was able to kind of withstand some of those takedown attempts, drain the gas tank of Arman Tsarukyan, and really kind of point, maybe Matt Frevola has a chance. But apparently, you know, you look at a fight like this, Arman Tsarukyan, he's an uber prospect. You almost expect him to win.
If I woke up in the morning and Matt Frevola won, I'd be extremely surprised. Now, of course, I'm going to be watching these fights because I love MMA. But Matt Frevola, it's going to be an uphill battle. Now, the great news is, even though the odds on the Azaitar fight were closer, stylistically, this is a much more favorable matchup for him. It's not going to force him to be the striker and be more uncomfortable on his feet. Because for Frevola, especially in the Luis Peña fight, when he is on the ground and really flowing on top, he can get quite a bit of work done from a control standpoint. On the feet, he just doesn't have any great longer range weapons. He really relies on his boxing and other people coming close to him. So for Frevola, if he can keep this, make this as much of a grappling fight as possible. Tsarukyan, he is a phenomenal grappler, and I do give him the edge in the grappling, and especially in the scrambles in this fight. But if you could just keep him working, like Craig had said, it's definitely his best path to victory. The only issue is your path to victory kind of plays into the hand of Tsarukyan. So I also have Arman in this one.
All right, Matt, we're both going with Arman Tsarukyan to get the win in kind of a fight that was hobbled together in the last 24 hours. Make sure you keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt, because, and we didn't announce this before with the original predictions, we're going to have the Fight Night Picks UFC 257 main card fight companion here on the channel. It starts at 9:45 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Hit up the chat. Let us know who you're going with over there. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we go live for that, as well as Fight Night Picks !kicks. Matt, I'm really looking forward to it. You're going to want to keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. And as we always say, let's get into it.